7, Kevin Hague. Order. I've called Kevin Hague. Order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Labour and asks, when will the new Chief Inspector for Mining and additional inspectors in the planned High Hazards Unit become operational?
The Honourable David Carter.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Labour, as soon as possible.
Supplementary.
Kevin Hague.
The supplementary, Mr. Speaker. What advice has she received as to why her department did not attempt to replace the mine inspector who retired in 2009, noting that left just 2 mines inspectors, currently down to 1?
The Honourable David Carter.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, I can advise that the Department of Labour has recruited an inspector to fill a recent vacancy, and it will begin immediately to recruit all the other inspectors required for the High Hazards Unit.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order has been called. Kevin Hague.
The question related to the 2009 action of the department, not to attempt to recruit for that position at that time. The vacancy that the Minister's answer
so we make more rapid progress, I'll invite the member to repeat his question. One of the reasons why I'm inviting him to repeat his question is the primary question was on notice and asked when certain things were going to happen, and as soon as possible is not actually a very satisfactory answer. So because I wasn't that impressed by that answer, I let the member repeat his supplementary question.
Thank you, sir. So the question is, what advice has she received as to why her department did not attempt to replace the mine inspector who retired in 2009?
The Honourable
Speaker,
David Carter.
I'm not aware of what advice the Minister received as to how long it took to replace an inspector, but I am advised that the Department of Labour has recruited an inspector to fill a vacancy. The other inspectors will be recruited as quickly as possible. It is important that we get inspectors with the necessary experience and skill, and this will require these people to be sought both locally and internationally. It is therefore, Mr. Speaker, not possible to put a date on when that recruitment process will be completed.
Kevin Hague.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker. Is she concerned that some members of the Department of Labour's Mines Steering Group argued against increasing the number of mines inspectors prior to the Pike River disaster?
The Honourable David Carter.
Mr. Speaker, as I am answering this on behalf of the Minister of Labour, I'm not aware that any officials criticised the intention to increase the inspectorate.
Kevin Hague.
Point of order, Mr.
Point
Speaker.
of order, Kevin Hague.
I'm not sure that I understood the Minister's response. As he was answering on behalf of the Minister of Labour, he wouldn't be able to answer the question?
Well, order. The Minister is answering, the member resume his seat for the moment. The Minister is answering on behalf of another Minister, and I think in his answer was a perfectly fair answer on this occasion, that he wasn't aware of that matter because he's answering on behalf of another Minister. He was unaware that there had been any pressure from any officials not to make such appointments. And so I think he was being very honest with the House there. He was saying he didn't have absolute information but was unaware of any such pressure. Kevin Hague.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order.
I fully accept that. Given that situation, is it? I seek your guidance, Mr. Speaker, as to whether it would be reasonable to seek an assurance from the Minister that an answer to that question is given, in fact.
I think the member has further supplementary questions. I think to pursue the matter and can ask exactly that kind of thing, whether the matter can be checked out further and an answer provided to the member in writing. I mean, that's a perfectly fair supplementary question. Kevin Hague.
Yeah, supplementary, Mr. Speaker. What powers will the new Chief Mines Inspector have?
The Honourable David Carter.
Mr. Speaker, in principle, the Chief Mines Inspector, as the other inspectors, will have the right and the powers to make sure that they ensure that all our mines operate as safely as possible.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Kevin Hague.
The answer that's just been given describes the function of the new position, but not the powers at all.
The Honourable Simon Power speaking to the point of order.
Mr Speaker, I know the member's intentions on the subject matter are genuine, as everybody's are, but using the point of order system to simply relitigate every answer that is given by the Minister cannot be what the standing orders were designed for.
The member makes a perfectly fair point that I think, when questioning a minister, if a minister keeps evading answers, I'll certainly pull him up. And to use it to question every answer, unless the minister is clearly trying to avoid answering. If that was happening, I'd have no problem. But I think the minister is doing his best answering on behalf of another minister to give the House reasonable answers. And that's why I think the Honourable Simon Power's point is reasonable on this occasion. Often reasonable, I should say. Kevin Hague, supplementary.
Has she sought any advice from the Department of Labour regarding mining companies currently refusing to put in extra exits from their underground mines, as described in the evidence from the Department of Labour's Michael Furman during the Royal Commission hearings?
The Honourable David Carter.
Mr Speaker, as I am answering this question on behalf of the Minister of Labour, I cannot advise the House today whether the Minister has sought further advice on the matter of exits from mines.
Kevin Hague.
Supplementary, Mr Speaker. Will she consider amending the law so that situations don't arise whereby mining companies can refuse safety recommendations from the Department of Labour?
The Honourable David Carter.
Mr Speaker, as I'm answering that question on behalf of the Minister, that is certainly something that she needs to answer, and you're welcome to put it down as a question. My advice to the Minister of Labour, if she asked for my advice, was that she should wait until the Royal Commission inquiry has completed its findings before making that decision.
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Speaker, I think I apologise to the member, but I think we're now getting to a difficult position where a minister's not brief, but worse than that, sir, he's now saying what he, as a Cabinet colleague, would be briefing the Minister to do. And there's no way that he can do that. I mean, he might want to say that my colleague, the Minister of Agriculture, has been briefing me. But, sir, I think the problem that we have is that it's relatively unusual that a minister doesn't appear to have had the normal briefing notes that goes with a supplementary question, because all of these questions are ones which any minister taking this question would have expected today.
I appreciate the member's point of order, but in fact I don't think there's anything in standing orders that prevents a minister from including in his answer what he did then. I mean, the primary question asked when will the new Chief Inspector for Mining and additional inspectors in the planned high hazards unit become operational. And the supplementaries have moved a fair way from that primary question. And for a minister answering on behalf of another minister, I'm not surprised that he wouldn't have all the specific information that I accept the members asking in absolute good faith. But I think one has to accept that on a day like this where the minister couldn't be present, we can't expect the minister answering on behalf to have all that material. Kevin Hague, supplementary question.
Supplementary, Mr Speaker. Why, given that it is possible, after all, to take action to improve mine safety before the Royal Commission reports, is the government not also taking other actions that we know would improve underground mine safety, like reinstating check inspectors, a return to mandatory standards for underground mining, and implementation of the other recommendations of the Department of Labour's review?
In calling the Minister to answer that supplementary question, I'd have to acknowledge it's a fair way from the primary, but the Minister's welcome to do his best with it.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Labour, following the tragedy, the government instituted an independent operational review, and the recommendation from that review was the increase in the numbers of inspectors, and the government has acted accordingly.
The Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Supplementary, Mr Speaker, to the Minister. Will the High Hazards Unit now be able to offer advice to miners and mine companies, or does her department, the Department of Labour, still consider that this exposes them to issues of legal liability?
The Honourable David Carter.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the the Minister of Labour, it would be my expectation that indeed the inspectors could give advice to mining companies.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker. Will the new high hazards unit be resourced to visit and inspect underground mines every month, or does she consider this level of monitoring too high and only appropriate for Chinese underground mines where this standard applies?
The Honourable David Carter.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Labour, I have not had any advice as to how often the inspectors will be able to visit individual mines.
Question number 8, Charles Chevelle. The Honourable